from A and put them in B. The budget, you are not going to swallow hook, line, and sinker. You know that. But it is a budget that is dead on arrival. It is purely proposals. And it is you that will correct some of those errors that you have observed.
But is it my responsibility to point out those errors at the debate?
So whose responsibility is it?
So that's what we're doing, right? Pointing out those errors at the debate, right?
Yeah, but so it's not taking it to the committee level to go and find out precisely what the proposals are all about.
So what is the point of the debate, of the budget debate?
The budget debate is to probably look at...
Was Honorable Abike Dabiri wrong in pointing that out?
Well, I didn't see that particular document. He just mentioned it, that 700 million was proposed for.
And that's just the tip of the iceberg of the irregularities. The budget is fraught with irregularities.
Let's go back here. Yeah. One of your lawmakers, Senator Babafemi Ojudu, at one time, precisely, I'm trying to get that particular date, I think sometime in February, early February, around 3rd or 4th of February, said that the 2012 and 2013 budget, that the 2014 is just a recap, or so to speak, a photocopy of the 2012 and 2013 budget.
It must be a continuation project, because definitely there are projects there that were not completed in probably the 2012 budget, and they definitely must come in except you want to leave them as abandoned project. So if you probably say they are almost the same thing, I will not disagree. And you must also look at the funding arrangements, because sometimes when there is a project that costs probably about 500 million and the resources was not enough, they will probably allocate about 250.
So every year
I think the point Senator Femi Ojudu was making was that it was more or less cut and paste, and that's why I said earlier in the program that we don't really have a budget before us, properly so called. We have a document that has figures, being thrown around here and there. And yes, like I said, it's our responsibility to point out those things and to do justice to it. But doing justice to it, for you to do justice, you have to point them out first to the whole public, to the whole world to know. Look, year in, year out, you find what you call in every MDA welfare. I need somebody to explain to me what welfare is. You've already catered for so many things. What is welfare? What does that mean? I need an understanding. And if you add all this, yes, and we've always been saying that particular, and we've always pointed it out. But because, thank you, Lord, because then they had overwhelming super majority, our voices were drowned. Now our voices are not drowned, and so the Nigerian people are the better for it. We're pointing these things out now, and they're going into a frenzy. And they are going into a frenzy and having their knickers in a twist, because we're pointing out.
So what are you pointing out?
Not pass the budget because of your numbers?
No.
Are you afraid?
Passing the budget is a no. We know we will pass the budget.
No. We will
like it. Listen, it's a collective agenda. We must pass the national budget.
We will pass the budget. We will pass the budget. But by God, we will not pass that budget the way they want it passed. We will not pass that budget and return it to the sender.
You have not passed any budget the way it has been presented by the executive. Let's go back to from 2003 till date. Definitely, as any given time when budget comes, we utter the figures on a continuous basis, whether reduce or we add. So you cannot say that we are going to pass.
Let me tell you what that tells you. Yes. Well, you're just making our own point in a different way. If year in, year out, you're altering, manipulating, and the executive accuses you of that anyway, of changing the budget, doing this, doing that, what does that say about those who prepared the budget, which is your party?
Yeah, but
sent it to you.
But
you are basically locking your party.
No, I'm not. Hold on, please.
At the end of the day,
the responsibility on us, all right, is to make sure that at the end of the day, these proposals are looked at details. And you are the one that goes on for oversight function. Hold on, please. There's the house that goes out for oversight functions. And when they come back from oversight function, it is their responsibility to check whether those figures are very, very correct. It is not the responsibility of the executive to pass the budget. You pass the budget. You add and subtract from the figures when you are not convinced. Presume today there is a road going in Sulere, and that money that was allocated for that road is not enough. Are you going to say that you're not going to add money to that road?
So